Futures trading involves risk and is not suitable for all investors. Content provided in this segment is meant for educational purposes and is not a solicitation to buy or sell commodities.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Tech Talk. It is September 24th, 2024. I am Cody. He is Andy. Together, we make up the Tech Talk team.
Tech Talk duo. I'm good. How are you?
Duo. I like that. The Tech Talk duo. We'll go with that for now.
Team, etc. How's everything been going?
It's been good. How about you? Good rain today? Nice rain.
You know what? I was just about to comment on that. The grass is finally going to look a little green around here because it's just been like yellow.
It's been, 20-some days without rain, I think somebody had said?
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
Did you ever make that decision about who's going to win, the Pac or Michigan State?
No.
I'm going to hound you until you make a decision. Like, I know this is a really tough one for you.
I can't make a decision. I just can't. They're both as equally heartbreaking or as equally joyful as can be. It's like picking your favorite kid, right? Everyone's got one. You just can't say it out loud. Tell me that's not true. Everyone has a favorite child.
I only have one kid, so it's easy for me to pick. But
if you have multiple, I hear there's a favorite always in the pack somewhere.
Got it. Dad of the year right here, Cody. Sure. Like, just tell them how it is. I mean, do you have a favorite chart today?
I do have a favorite chart. We actually have 4 coming at us. So all 4 came at requests, if I'm not mistaken.
4 kids, 4 charts. All 4 came at request. And you have a favorite. Are you going to tell us which one's your favorite?
I'm going to tell you which one is my favorite, and it is going to be the butter chart.
The butter. Should we now? Do you want to start with your favorite? Should we save the best for last?
No, you always save the best for last.
Save the best for last. We're going to spread the butter on here pretty soon. But for now, we're starting with Dec Corn. I think this came at request from old Jimbo.
Old Jimbo.
Now, is it old with an O-L or is it old O-L-D?
O-O-L. Old.
Like O-L apostrophe. Old Jimbo.
Right.
I agree. I like that one.
Right.
I don't know. What do you think here?
And I think this came at request, and the other part of the request was look at the chart through the eyes of someone who may be on the bearish side of things, right?
Well, we try to be as objective as we can. I would imagine too, right? You don't want to have you don't want to exhibit confirmation bias. And for those that don't know what that means, is you're already bearish before you even look at the chart, so you're just going to look for reasons to be bearish rather than try to be objective. Sorry, old Jimbo.
Sorry, bud.
I think the biggest thing about this chart, when I first look at it, is, you guessed it, Cody, this gap, it's holding.
On the weekly.
So you have this gap that formed last week, and this week, it's actually maintaining that gap, which is a sign of strength here in this case, right? So we gapped up. Now, you do have what I think you could consider very long-term resistance still to be played out, if you will. But what's interesting about this is that this market doesn't like $4. It gapped above there. It bounced off of there here. When it started to go, it seemed to go pretty quickly through that price and then V-bottomed back up and now gapped through it and is now holding it. So that, to me, when I see $4 like that, when I see all this price action around this price, it's a sign that the market wants to move away from it, right? So I guess I look at it and say, like, these 2 candles, and let's zoom back in. This gap plus these 2 candles. Let's say you get an open higher next week. I think you have to go be really super duper careful about this point right here. And then the next one right around here, which, yikes. I mean, depends how quickly you get there, right? But I think you're going to ultimately start to bump up against this bad boy right here.
I would agree. Well, I'm looking at it on a daily, and I guess the daily, what I'm looking at for Dec Corn is every time we try to test 415, we promptly break that number and just cannot hold that 415 number, right? You get up there, you test it, and then you come back down hard the next couple of days, kind of like you were saying, back down to $4, and we kind of waver in between this $4.10 to $4 number. We did it again today, right? We had a high of $4.18 and a quarter.
Mm-hmm.
Could not maintain it.
Could get above there.
Yeah, we traded $2.11, $2.12 in there.
Mm-hmm.
So I see what you're saying. I lean a little bit more. I think we got to test $4 one more time, maybe 2 more times. And once we get there, I think there's a solid breakthrough to the downside of Dec Corn.
Okay. So you and I are difference of opinions.
Correct.
And that's fine. That's how trading happens. You have a buyer and a seller, and they match up. It's crazy how that works, isn't it?
It's crazy. I don't like how today ended, right? I just don't like that massive wick on that candle, trying to get up to 420 and just saying, no, sir.
Okay. Well, I think it's fair to say you and I at least agree that we're going to see some more consolidation first.
Yes.
I would agree with that. So it's a question of whether or not it's really how this market acts around $4, I think is what you and I are also agreeing to, right? Like,
yeah.
If, to your point, if we get the bounce off of $4 and keep going, until you get through 415. It's being able to maintain over $4, or if we really hammer it down, getting through that price. So
Correct.
look at $4. We'll see. I don't know, Jimbo. We'll see what it does here, but I don't know. This one's super interesting. At least one of us is going to be right.
I was going to say there's a very good difference of opinion on this one.
Next up, CME Cheese. This also came at request. This has just been hot.
This an oldie but a goodie.
Yeah. So this is what you and I had been talking about. Like you had the bull flag that played out, and you basically the length of this line is from when it broke out. So if you just literally lay this one on top, it's the same distance basically.
Yep.
Right, and that's where we went to, which is coincidentally the same spot this market really fell out of bed from last time it was there. So the interesting thing is that you had the barrel go print record high prices, and the block couldn't get back. They had this massive spread between the block and the barrel.
Mm.
But to me, I think it's also like you have this kind of doji formation almost right here. This guy right last week. So a doji is when you have a small. This isn't a true one because you'd look for like basically the same open and close, so you have no real body. This one has a super small body. So it kind of represents indecision in the marketplace. And it's not really what you want to see if you're expecting a trend to continue up or down. Right. And so the fact that the market had some indecision here after it, had this big run, tests this number, has indecision, and then opens lower the next week, this week, that's a sign of weakness. So we have this gap here you got to be super careful of. This is between 198 and 218. It's a massive gap. But this is the guy you want to be super careful of. If we really start to fall out of bed, that turns into a magnet. You think we go fill it?
I personally do. And I think once we get down there and fill it, I think it's a quick retracement back up to 225, 230, possibly where we are right now of cheese.
So I think that's what we talked about last time. And I don't know if we talked about filling the gap, but I definitely remember talking about some sort of like M.
Well, exactly. But I mean, to complete that, well, I don't
something
know.
like that. I think is what we talked about.
It is.
Potentially.
It is. But I guess here's my question. Do you think it's an M, or do you think we fill the gap down towards $2 and then prompts us to be pretty cheap cheese throughout the rest of the world, depending on what GDT shows us and everything else? But at $2 cheese, that is very cheap cheese from what we've seen for the past couple months, right?
Sure. I think the question is going to be, how much of this did we retrace? 222. Oh my God. So do you remember, I don't know if you ever, maybe Paige knows what I'm talking about, the Glenn Lerner commercials? 222, 22, 22. No?
The Chicago thing?
Yeah. I think he had to move out of Chicago or something like that. I think he's in like Las Vegas now, but Glenn Lerner's a lawyer for you. Call 222-2222. No?
Shout out Glenn Lerner.
So at any rate, at 222, Glenn Lerner. At 222 though, that's 50%, right? And so if you want to it kind of becomes like do or die time there, because at that point if we cross through 50%, then it's a lot harder for it to be like potentially truncated into like wave 4 and wave 5 of like, if you want to think about like the Elliott wave piece, because right now you can make the argument that we're in wave 3, and a retracement here would be wave 4. If that's the case, then you'd get an exhaustion, wave 5 that would take you up to somewhere in here, right?
So, yes, okay, that was going to be my next question. Do you think we kind of have that 5-wave Elliott theory, and then come back down to $2?
It's possible. I think that would be what would prompt us the most to get below $2. Is another push into trying to get through that 250 area, getting through there, and really having like a nasty blow off top.
Which 222, you're only talking about losing 16 cents, give or take.
I mean, hey, 16 cents was a big move when we were at 150.
It was, but now, when barrels are still at 154, is it that big of a move? Right?
I hear what you're saying. On a percentage basis, it changes, obviously, right? So, to me, I think it's just how do we act? I mean, I think we got to go test that 222 area. I think this. Let me just get rid of this real fast. I think this turns into this. I think gets weak, and I think it persists, especially with the way futures are trading too, right? Like December cheese, for example, 208 offer. This is at 237. So the futures market's definitely telling us that we're going to go fill this gap, right? Or pretty close. Mm-hmm. So I think the real question is, how does this market react once we've retraced 50% of this move? I think we can both agree that it's coming, that retracement is coming.
Right. Yeah.
I think the futures completely fall out of bed and have like a big push lower. We'll see how we'll see if that's right or not. But it feels like there's like a panic sell-off that could happen as a result of that, right?
It seems like you have it today. I think we were limit down for a hot second here in October, November, and settled ourselves 45 lower.
What would be a cold second to you?
A cold second? Oh,
Yeah, like
damn. It's a good question. I don't know.
like a hot minute. Like I hear it all the time. What about like a cold? What's wrong with cold food? Like
Takes too long. Cold minute takes a lot longer. I don't know. Never thought of that.
all right, well, add it to the list. Packers, MSU, cold minute. What does that mean? Who knows? I think you and I both agree we're due for some retracement here. It's just a question of whether or not we go fill this gap. If we fill this gap, then it could be lights out for a while. But or do we see wave 4 into wave 5? We shall see. This one will be a hot one for a while. All right. So you wanted to save butter for last, correct?
If we could.
Well, we can, since this is our show. So this one came at request. Coco.
Erica.
Internal from Erica.
She said she had to buy candy for Halloween and wanted to know what kind of saved money needed to be spent on candy.
Well, that's a good question.
What do you make of that?
I don't know. The first thing that came to mind was if you exclude what appears to be kind of like I don't want to say a bad bar, but like this made an attempt to get to break out and failed right here. So I'm going to exclude that because I want to stick to like being consistent. I'm using the open for these, and so this open and that open. I'm excluding that for now. I get that. So what sticks out to me is you try like somewhat of a horizontal line of like best fit, and you could argue it's here I think it's somewhere in here, this range, but to me, it's this, or if you really want to be more conservative about it, you could have it right there. Regardless, it seems like it's a descending triangle. So what that means is that you have, consistently lower highs bumping up against the same, more or less, like support, right? And so an ascending triangle would be the inverse of that. A horizontal line we keep bumping up against and making higher lows. What's nice about this one is that once we break out, let's say we break out of this and go into like, somewhere in here, right? You get the confirmation, it turns into a bit of a free fall, usually, right? Or if you finally do break out of this downward trend, you rip higher. So I don't know if I don't consider this to be a bull flag because it's not, it's a little bit too pronounced.
Yeah.
But like to me, the nice part about this is that it has like you could trade the breakout on that one. Mm-hmm. And I think you can have a reasonable amount of success. And so it's hard to say with that chart, like, are we going to go lower or higher? It seems like there's going to be a lot of volatility here once you have a breakout. It's just a question of where do you break out from. So I think in this case, you'd have to trade the breakout. I don't know what that means for buying candy. I mean, like, I'm assuming you only buy candy for your favorite kid and not like the other however many other kids you got.
Right. Naturally, as one does.
Okay. So I guess if that favorite kid, doesn't like chocolate, then you're fine.
Exactly.
But
it's a glass half full attitude.
It's a glass half full. There you go. So to me, it's like I said, I think you have to be really mindful. It seems like it's winding up for a very volatile move. Not to say this hasn't been super volatile already, but when you see this type of like bumping up against this part, it usually is, in this case, more often than not, a breakout to the downside because the inverse is always true on the ascending triangle. Mm-hmm. That's usually like a prelude to us just like ripping higher.
Yeah.
So yeah, that would be my take on it. I'd look for a breakout here. I'd probably be a little bit more aggressive and draw this kind of in like, the midpoint between like this bar, these two bars here. So this, I feel like this is a little bit more appropriate. So I would wait for this to break, close through here, open lower, and then I think you just close your eyes and sell it.
Okay.
We shall see though. Maybe candy gets cheaper for Halloween.
Wait to buy your candy, folks.
Are you going to hand out candy this year, by the way?
Usually do.
Okay.
Usually do.
So you've got some skin in the game here.
Oh, yeah.
We got a Halloween episode we're going to do, by the way, so stay tuned. All right. Last but not least, this is what you wanted to do. This is what we're all waiting for from butter. Cody. Butter. What do you want to do?
Sell butter. Does not look bullish.
Butter had quite the last couple, if you include this week, last week, and the week prior. This does not, no bueno.
No.
No bueno whatsoever.
We felt the big gap that you and I were looking at going back into September of last year also, right?
Right.
We kind of petered ourselves out, straight lined, and then promptly broke.
Yeah, I think these two can't, assuming we're here for the rest of the week. Today's only Tuesday, right? But assuming we're here or lower for the rest of the week, This is a clear confirmation of this breakout, right? You had an uptrend, failed, and then opened lower this week by 7.25 cents too. I mean, what was the open here? Open was 294. Sorry. So it opened 3.25 cents lower. But regardless, I mean, this is what we talk about, right? You get the breakout or the move, and then you get a confirmation on the next bar. That looks, to your point, no Gouda. It's weak.
I will say for all the bulls out there, this drop that we've seen has created quite the gap right there at 295 ish.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I think you start getting some confirmation to the lower side. You get down to 270, and maybe some more buying opportunities present itself for a leg higher from there.
Sure. And we've seen how quickly, I guess just think about it this way, like the market, we haven't been below like a 250 in some time for any, like I know I guess that's not quite true. Call it like 235, 240-ish. The market seemed to really like that price for a long time here. And then we took off, came back. So, if we're really going to fall out of bed, get like, dare I say it, $2, this is space we have to get through and get through in a meaningful way, meaning like get some volume trading, get through there and then open lower and really hammer it. But we'll see. For now, these two candles are a sign of weakness. Breakout, open lower, yikes. I think you got to go retrace a good portion of this move. I had this drawn here prior to this line right here, 270-ish.
Yep.
Basically where it kind of broke out from, right? Because it had this period. It just kind of traded sideways for a while here. Let me just blow that up real fast. Traded sideways here and then started to go. So I think this becomes somewhat of a magnet, this 270 price.
I agree. 270, 250, and then 235. Right? In that sequence, not saying we're going to get down there by any means, but
sure. I think we have to go try. We have to go see what pops up at 270-ish.
Yeah, test the waters. Test the waters.
A little testeroo.
Test the waters.
Testeroo. All right. Fair enough. Well, on that note, that's all I got.
We appreciate the insight on that, and we also appreciate the 4 folks that actually told us to our faces what they want to see. That was the best part. Nobody called in. We were on a meeting, and they said, this is what we want to see. Show us. And we did. So those
Ask
are
and you shall receive.
Exactly. If anybody outside of the company has any that they would like to see, please feel free to write in, send us an email, phone call, however you want to get it to us. We will look at the charts. It doesn't even have to be dairy. We looked at cocoa today, which was something we haven't looked at in a long time.
Cocoa.
Probably this time last year, I would imagine.
Maybe you want to look at Home Depot. I don't know.
You never know. Whatever you guys want to see, we will try to find the ticker for it. We will put it up there, and we will take a peek at these charts. But
it's going to get figured out.
Until next week, that is going to do it for Andy and I. We appreciate you watching, tuning in. If you have not already, please subscribe to the channel, give us a thumbs up, hit that notification bell. Until next week, have a great week and even better weekend. We'll see you next time.